Welcome to my YouTube channel again. I'm back with a new video, and for today we're going to talk a little bit about one topic that I think is really interesting for all of you mechanical engineers or students of mechatronics, mechanical engineering, industrial design, product development, and this topic is really important for your career. It's going to be really important for you since you are a student, and it's going to be important for you even after that, when you are looking for a job, when you are already doing a job, if you are like seeking postgraduate degrees like master student or like a PhD degree, like in my case, this topic is going to be very, very important. And this is CAD software or CAD software, which stands for computer aided design software. This is going to be a topic that you are going to start seeing maybe your second, third semester of the university, depending on which country are you and which study field are you going through. Like for example, mechanical engineers is going to be probably sooner, mechatronics engineer is going to be probably maybe a little bit later, but it's going to be there with you. And it's very important because there is a lot of software out there, and there are a lot of things that you can do with them, and there is a lot of professions, careers, job opportunities, and they are very dependent on CAD software or on CAD software and your experience on it. So I think we are going to just to speak about today about what are the most common software that are out there, what should you be looking for to learn if you are a student. For all of you guys that you still don't know me, my name is Jorge Morales. I'm an IT professional. I am a researcher based in Germany. I'm doing my PhD. Probably I'm going to be done with my PhD already next year. My PhD is in mechanical engineering, aeronautics, and fluid dynamics. And it's a pretty cool thing to do. But as I say, my passion is IT as well, computers, computer architecture, and I have vast experience in a lot of engineering disciplines, from everything that you can imagine. Probably I went through since I finished my bachelor's degree as when I was 21 years old. I'm now already almost 31, so it's already 10 years of experience working on different companies, working on different universities, doing my master's degree here in Germany. When I started my PhD as well as a full-time researcher and professor in a German university, teaching German students. And now in my job today as an IT professional, I still use a lot of CAD software. I support the research and development department of the company, and I met tons of people, tons of engineers, and I did tons of research projects and industry projects in collaboration with other people. And I know my ways very well, personally, firsthand, with CAD software. So that's for all of you guys that you don't know me, and let's just jump into the video. Let's just start with what means CAD or CAD. CAD stands for computer aiding design. It's a pretty basic, it's an amazing tool or a set of tools that helps engineers in order to realize the job since already like 50, 60 years already maybe. Since the introduction with computers or graphical interfaces for computers, CAD software is being there. And that is actually one of the main problems definition that we are going to talk about today in this introduction part, is that there is a lot of software out there. There is a tons of software, there's a tons of marks, brands, startups, young developers, companies that they are pushing software into the industry, into the market, and that just creates a more diversification of what you can use or what should you learn. But we are going to hang together in the variation of students or mechanical engineers or mechatronics engineers, and how you are going your way through the university. Yeah, so we are going to focus this in what you can probably learn in universities or in particular schools or in YouTube out there probably. So we are going to keep it in commercial things and things that probably most of you guys have access to or may have access to it, maybe in the companies that you are going to work in the future. So that's how we are going to start the video. We are going to talk about CAD software, but CAD software that is really at your hand and not something that are going to be probably not there for you, and maybe those not even make sense to mention them. Why is this actually very important? This is very important because when you're a student, doesn't matter which field again, and maybe you are an industrial design, civil engineer or something like that, or a product designer, And the thing is that this is important because at the end of your studies or at the end of your training, you are going to be out there in the market, maybe looking for a job or looking for a start your own company or doing research in the academia, and you are going to say, all of these job opportunities or research positions or academia positions, they ask for skills in CAD software. And yeah, when I was probably a student, I did a little bit of this, I did a little bit of that, but I not really got my hands or my expertise into one specific software. So maybe you are not going to fulfill the requirements that they ask, or maybe you would have experience in another software that is not really that much of asked in the market or in the academia. No? So this is very important because this is going to go with you your whole life probably as a mechanical engineer. Probably until you are in a position in which you don't need to do designs by yourself or to constructing by yourself, like maybe like project managers for engineers or maybe like team lead of engineering, but this is going to probably be still there. It's going to be there, so this is why it's so important. Yeah. So the problem, as we just mentioned, there are so many different brand choices, just choices at all. How are we going to approach this? We're going to approach this in the most easiest way, as we just mentioned, something that you can grab your hands on, and we're just going to make it still easier in software or CAD software that you probably could have access as a student. Yeah, this is going to be our first starting point, being a student. There are a lot of software, as I mentioned, but probably most of universities or private schools, even in United States, Mexico, for in my case, when I was a student, in Spain, where I am doing currently my PhD as a mechanical engineer, or in Germany, when I started my PhD and where I do work today, usually universities have access to student licenses or academic licenses or research licenses, maybe even commercial licenses of this CAD software, and they put them out there for all of you students to learn. That's the main purpose of these academic licenses, and they are amazing because they give you access to incredible software, to incredible platforms for free. Just because you are enrolled in the university, just because you are enrolled in this career, sometimes even you don't need to be enrolled in the career to get access to this software, and they're amazing. Let's start with the first one. With the first one that most of the universities, United States, Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, most of the universities have access to SolidWorks. SolidWorks comes from the house of Dassault Systems. It's a French developer house, I will say, and it is very famous, and it is a very strong software, and it is one of the most well-renowned CAD softwares in the whole world. Doesn't matter if you are in West, in the East, doesn't matter in which country you are, if you are a student, if you're a company, SolidWorks has made his way through a different SolidWorks has made its way very, very good to most of the top of the software that is used in the world. This was not the case for like 10, 50 years ago, but now SolidWorks is an amazing tool, and a lot of companies and a lot of academia and universities use it. SolidWorks is an amazing piece of software, as I just mentioned. It's a very incredible tool. Before, in the days, it was kind of shadowed by his big brother, that is Catia, from the same house of Dassault Systems, as well from the French company. But today, let me tell you, to be honest, SolidWorks is one of the best CAD software that you should learn. Like, totally, honestly, like, no disclaimers, just from the beginning, SolidWorks is probably one of the best CAD software that you should learn, and it's one of the best software that you have access to it. It's probably most of the universities have it for free and have premium licenses even in order to do finite element simulations, to do fluid dynamic simulations, to perform electromagnetism or electronics or cable routing or rendering, and all this is included in SolidWorks. It's a huge package, it's a huge platform, and it is very well used as well in the company. That's why it's going to be the first CAD software that I really, from my head and my experience, would recommend you to learn and to use, SolidWorks. A lot of you guys are going to say, "Jorge, SolidWorks is very basic. SolidWorks is not used by Chrysler. SolidWorks is not used by Ford. SolidWorks is not even used by BMW or something like that." But SolidWorks introduces you to the professional environment in which all these companies work, which are Catia or Siemens Unigraphics. And this is where the second and three main CAD softwares in the world opens, which is Catia. This is the big brother of SolidWorks, from the same house as just mentioned. And this is a very, very powerful tool, like with a lot of features. The engine in which it's running is very powerful. The mathematical engine in background is very powerful. You can do tons of features, very complex assemblies, very complex scenarios. You can even simulate large assemblies with motions and with physics integrated with ergonomics, and you can do incredible things. Like really, I cannot even mention all the things that you could do with Catia. Catia, a brief history, maybe like for 10 years ago, the whole industry manufacture and production industry, so in the east and west, it was really mostly divided into two main CAD softwares, Catia and Siemens NX or Unigraphics. And most of the companies in the world, like Ford, Chrysler, Toyota, aerospace, like the NASA, like the European Space Agency, it doesn't matter, e-bikes companies, bikes manufacturers, you put a name on it as a company, as a production manufacturing company, they used to divide their CAD software or portfolio in those two mainly. It became like a myth or like a legend, like most of the automotive company was using Catia, and Siemens Unigraphics and Catia, and most of the aerospaces is still using Catia until now. And it became like a rumor or like a myth, what software should I use, should I learn? But at the end, in my experience, let me tell you, it doesn't matter if you are an expert on Siemens NX or if you are an expert in Catia. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you are an expert in CAD software and if you are an expert in modeling and construction and design and simulation and putting assemblies together, or doesn't matter, additive manufacturing, at the end, doesn't matter that much which software do you use, even if it is Catia or Unigraphics or SolidWorks, as long as you stay in this environment of professional CAD software. That is actually one of the main points about how do you base the software that you should learn. The nice thing about Catia is as well wide available in universities. A lot of universities had academic licenses as well of Catia, and this is a very nice thing because a lot of students, doesn't matter in which country of the world they are, they have access to Catia. And Catia is a very powerful tool. The disadvantages of Catia against SolidWorks is that Catia is a little bit more expensive, like really expensive for companies. So small or medium companies that don't have really big budgets or really big pockets to spend in CAD software or in engineering software platforms, they are probably not going to use Catia or Siemens Unigraphics. They are going to go with cheaper options that they offer the things that they need, like SolidWorks. But if you learn Catia, it's going to be amazing, because if you learn Catia, the world is open for you as a mechanical engineer, as a mechatronic engineer, or as industrial design. Catia is going to open the whole world of professional environments of CAD software, the same as Unigraphics. It's going to be in your curriculum a really nice on top plus, saying that you are an expert on Catia or Unigraphics. And SolidWorks is something like, it's very good as well, but it's like a most common thing for students. Yeah? So that's an disadvantage. Catia is very expensive for companies, depending on the licenses, of course, that you're acquiring, depends on the models that you're acquiring. And Siemens Unigraphics is the same thing. Those softwares, one of the main differences is that as a private person, it's very difficult to purchase them. Very, very difficult for private persons to purchase and have access to the software when you are not anymore in the university or when you are not in a company. SolidWorks, on the other hand, SolidWorks is very cheap in comparison, even for students. If you want to use it privately for your stuff, even there are SolidWorks Maker for hobbies or for startups, and it's very cheap. It costs around 100 euros per year, like totally accessible with the models that you are going to require for do most of the things that you need. Catia now, today, I have the license as well for students. I bought it for myself. Catia is priced at around $99 or 99 euros per year with a full license of Catia, which is incredible, like really incredible. It is the new Catia. It is like the 3D experience. It's not anymore this Catia B5 or B6 that we know from the old days. It's a really nice software. That's where I do my research most of the time, or with my license of Catia B5 that I still have from the days when I purchased it. And yeah, so those are the 3 software that probably most makes sense to learn if you have the opportunity in the university. SolidWorks again, Catia, and Siemens NX. There are other choices, and we're going to talk about them now. Like, Jorge, there are Autodesk software like Inventor, like AutoCAD. There is PTC with Creo. Now we have the 10th version of Creo, and there is Fusion 360, which is completely free. And those software are amazing software. PTC Creo now gained a huge market advantage in the last years. Creo, before, it was used for like a small company, like huge companies were using Creo, don't get me wrong. But today now, it got a little bit of the market share, to be honest. Creo is a pretty cool software as well. And for students, it's completely free. PTC Creo is completely free for students, and it's an unbelievable thing, like really unbelievable. PTC Creo is an amazing software. Like, car manufacturers use PTC Creo, and it's free if you're a student. And if you are not a student, they have good prices because it's not that expensive, like Siemens NX or like Catia. But yeah, it's a pretty cool software as well. The other software that I really as well will encourage you to use or to learn when you are young is Inventor and AutoCAD. Inventor is an amazing 3D software as well, very professional, really professional. Autodesk has tons of training, tons of education programs out there, and a lot of contracts with universities all over the world just to push the trainings of Autodesk software. It's an incredible software, and if you're a student, you just need to go to the website of Autodesk student, put your university email there, they're going to prove everything, and if it goes through, you will have access to all the software that they offer. From AutoCAD 2D, to Maya, to Revit for architects, CFD Ultimate for computational fluid dynamics, Inventor Nastran, this very powerful finite element simulation software, to Inventor, of course, and they have like 30 software available out there. HRWorks for electronics, for magneticism. They have immense selection of software, and it's everything for free from Autodesk. So I will encourage you, of course, to learn it because it's there. And just don't be surprised that if you go, maybe if you want to go to Ford, you want to become one of the best design engineers to work for Ford, and it's like the newest one, F150. Don't be surprised if they don't use Autodesk software. Most of the companies that I went, to be honest, in my life as an engineer, and universities and every research institute that I was, and engineers that I met and projects that I realized, they did not use Autodesk software. I don't know what happened. Before it was very common, to be honest, and at some point it was just surpassed by other software like SolidWorks. SolidWorks became, as I just mentioned, very famous in the last years and very powerful. The next software that I will encourage you as well to use, because it's free for students, is SolidEdge. SolidEdge is from the Siemens house, like Siemens NX Unigraphics, and this software is completely free. Just register with your student email and you're going to get access to it. Why do I recommend this software? Because it's similar to the relation that SolidWorks has with Catia. SolidWorks is like the entry-level, mid-level, very professional software, and the big brother is Catia. Like for huge assemblies, with Catia you can design things that takes you to Mars and to the moon, and you can have the whole packaging of the whole F150, like the 10-20 models that they have in one assembly. And with SolidWorks, maybe you can have one and design and everything. It's like, they are very good software, but this relationship is like almost the same with SolidEdge and NX from Siemens. With SolidEdge, you got the entry to the environment of Siemens. Siemens has a huge platform for product lifecycle management. And once you are there in this product lifecycle management environment, you will probably stay there for a few years if you want to be an expert in that. And it's going to be very helpful for you. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So SolidEdge is free completely and it's going to help you a lot really. Maybe you are going to a company that uses Siemens NX, like Apple, for example. Apple computers use, in order to design their Apple products, they use Siemens NX. And if you already have experience with SolidEdge, because when you're a student you learn it because it is free, it's going to give you a very nice push if you are trying to get those kind of jobs. So SolidEdge is a nice software, and the last software that I'm going to speak about from the commercial most used is going to be Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is completely free. It's as well from the house of Autodesk, and this software is a cloud-based software. It can be installed locally. I mean, actually it's installed locally, so you still require a good computer to run it. But for example, in order to do simulations, it's going to push the simulations into the cloud, and then it's going to send the results back to your computer. So you most of the time requires an internet connection for it, and it's a very cool software because it's for free. For students, it's as well really cheap. Even for companies, it's cheap. In the company where I work, I bought a few Fusion 360 licenses as well because we were using them because of the tools that they offer. And Fusion 360, I can as well recommend it because once you are as well in the Autodesk environment, you can learn a lot of CAD software. And as I just mentioned, it's very cheap, has amazing tools, like for example, the 3D printing tool or additive manufacturing tool is pretty cool. The machining tool from Fusion is also pretty cool. And it's all in all, it's a very nice software. All in all, it's a very nice software, very complete CAD tool. And as I just mentioned again, it's free. It's free, like the best CAD software in the world is free. And this is like one of my first conclusion of this video. Take advantage of all this software when you're a student because it's going to be probably free. Once you are not in a university anymore or a part of a research institute, it's going to be very expensive and very difficult to get this software. SolidWorks, for example, is going to be probably easy. You can buy it. Catia, very difficult. Siemens NX, you can forget it. I mean, if you don't learn Siemens NX in your university, it's going to be very difficult to learn from it after. But it's one of the most used software in the world for any industry that exists out there for production or manufacturing. Catia is as well. It's actually a shame because the most used CAD software in the world, Catia and Siemens NX, they are not available like the other software. That's why you can learn SolidWorks and you can learn SolidEdge. Yeah? And Autodesk as well for free. I mean, just take advantage of your student condition as much as you can because it's going to be very, very helpful. For the second part of this video, we are going to talk about software that I would recommend you to learn as well, and they are not part of this amazing CAD software portfolio that we just mentioned. And the first of those is going to be Blender. Blender is a 3D modeling tool. A lot of people, it's open source. It's not even free, it's better than free. It's open source, which is a whole history, but it's amazing, it's amazing. Even companies can use them if they acknowledge the use of Blender for free, like totally for free. And Blender is very powerful. Blender is so much powerful, it's so well optimized. It is multi-platform, Windows, Linux, Mac, doesn't matter what kind of operating system that you're running. Blender is an amazing piece of software. And I will recommend you to learn this, first of all, because it's free. Second, because there is a lot of tutorials out there on the internet, completely free. You can be a master. You can really master this software completely at your community of your home. And it's amazing. You don't need to go to any school. You don't need to do any training. You don't need to pay thousands of euros or dollars for Catia training. Blender, you can just learn it for free. And it's amazing. I'm really trying since like almost 2 years. I'm really learning Blender myself, and I'm using now Blender myself to do a lot of my research things as a mechanical engineer. And I really like it. I really like it. It's very well optimized. It uses the resources of your computer as much as it can. It has as well a perfect, incredible render engine. Like the rendering engine, as you may know, Blender, it works amazing with the best textures, graphics card parallelization, the full parallelization of CPUs. It's brutal. The software is just brutal. The only disadvantage is that a lot of people out there, they speak about Blender as a non-parametrical CAD software. And yeah, maybe you cannot do sketches with millimeters, and that's the big difference of this parametric CAD software like SolidWorks, like Creo, Unigraphics. Those are parametric CAD software. Blender, it is not. It's more based like, it's more like a freeform based 3D spatial CAD software, if you can say something like that. But there is a really nice plugin today that is being developed since already years, and I like it a lot. I will put the name here. And these kind of plugins, because Blender again is open source, they increase the features of what Blender can do. And this type of CAD parametric plugins, they really are amazing. I've been using it since months as well, and I'm just amazed how Blender it is. Why do I recommend Blender as well? Because Blender is very future-proof. Blender is very future-proof, and in my experience here in Germany as an engineer, I think most of the companies are going to move in the future in the direction of artificial intelligence and generative AI in order to design and to construct huge models. Where I am seeing it now, and I'm trying to learn as well and push as well a lot of the things that I do in this direction. Using platforms as NVIDIA Omniverse and the USD Composer from NVIDIA Omniverse in connection with Blender, you can do brutal things, like amazing. You don't need, you can create digital twins for factories, you can create digital twins of cars, of e-bikes, of everything, and you can create everything with Blender. One of the best recommendations I will give you, just to conclude this video and put it together with Blender, I will really recommend you become an expert in one specific CAD software. If your university, the same as mine in Mexico, provide you with licenses of SolidWorks, become an expert in SolidWorks. Learn SolidWorks as you cannot learn anymore. Drafting, sketching, part design, assemblies, motion designs, motion simulations, finite element simulations. Learn all the things that you can learn with your main CAD parametric software. And then try to push in the same direction all these skills and knowledge that you have that you mastered with this parametric tool, with some tools like Blender. And I'm not going to say even some tools, with Blender. Try to match all the parametric skills that you learn as a mechanical engineer with Blender and all the plugins to create parametric designs, and match them together. SolidWorks as parametric tool is going to be a really nice thing in your curriculum, in which if you are an expert on the software, any company, even if they require Catia and even if they require NX or Creo, they are going to accept you. They are going to go for it because you are an expert and you can demonstrate probably your skills. Doesn't matter which software at the end. Catia, SolidWorks, NX, Creo is all the same. Inventor. I mean, I know a lot of the software. I personally, I am an expert in Catia, in B5 Catia, and I am an expert as well in SolidWorks. I became an expert since I'm like 17 years old, and I work every day since 13 years with this software. But I work as well with NX, with Siemens NX. I supervise bachelor thesis and master thesis with NX. I know my voice very well, because if you learn one CAD software, the same thing is doable probably with the other CAD software. You just need to know where it is and what do you need to click. So learn one parametric software as you cannot learn anymore. Become an expert in CAD software, but just only in one, and have maybe a little bit of knowledge of the other software because you used it. But don't try to learn like halfway SolidWorks and halfway Catia and 1/3 of NX, because you are not going to be an expert in any of the three softwares. And if one guy with a lot of experience with Catia or with SolidWorks is going to try to get the same job as you, they are probably going to go with the guy that is really skilled, and not with the other one that knows a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay? In my case, as I say, I love CAD software since I'm very young. That's why I learned all this software, and I'm very good with all this software. With Inventor, with AutoCAD, with NX, I'm very good with that software. But I will not recommend it to you. It took me years and it took me a lot of time because I liked it. If you like it, of course. But take something like Blender. Take Blender and learn a lot Blender. And that is going to be the main recommendation I will give you. CAD software divided into parametric and freeform design. Learn one CAD software. I would recommend you to learn SolidWorks. SolidWorks is from my head, my personal recommendation to learn. SolidWorks, finite element simulation with SolidWorks as I just mentioned, rendering with SolidWorks, electronics with SolidWorks, cable routing. There is a tons of things to learn to SolidWorks. You will never be an expert in all the things, but learn all the things as much as you can. And then learn Blender. And with that software, you will be very good for all your engineering career. Thank you very much guys for watching. I'm very, very happy just for doing this. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this topic, and maybe next week I'm going to get a new computer here, a new workstation, and maybe we can talk about this CAD software, but like hands-on. So if you like the video, please of course subscribe to the channel. If you want to know more, please like the video if you like it, and stay tuned for the upcoming. Thank you very much again for watching, and see you until the next time.